everyone, this is Grace. It is September the 27th, 2023, and we are continuing our study on wine in the Bible. We have an opening scripture. We're going to be, let's go ahead and look at our opening scripture first. This is not on the topic, but I wanted to point this out. We had spoken before about how sweet wine was considered better in the Bible. And here you have a ward of the king of Assyria, the captain of the army, Sennacherib, attacking Judah. And he's trying to talk them into surrendering. And he says, "Until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards, a land of oil, olive, and of honey, that ye may live and not die, and hearken not unto Hezekiah when he persuadeth you, saying, the Lord will deliver us." Okay, so he's telling them good, smooth words, right? But he doesn't use the word for liquor. He uses the word that's commonly used for grape juice. Wine, fresh or new wine, must, freshly pressed wine. Must, it just means any stage of the wine before it turns into alcohol. Or before it's considered wine, alcoholic wine. Must. The expressed juice of fruit, and especially grapes, before enduring fermentation, also the pulp and skins of the crushed grapes. So he doesn't use wine as in liquor. No, he uses the term that excludes the liquor as the temptation for them to surrender. Wine, sweet wine, is considered better in the Bible over alcohol. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at our study. We're going to be looking at, I had mentioned before in the previous studies that they changed it. And we're going to be looking at examples where the wine is used exclusively as wine. And in order to make it an alcoholic wine, they added the word strong drink. So let's take a look at the scriptures. "Do not drink wine nor strong drink, thou nor thy sons with thee, when you go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest ye die. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations." Okay, so you can't see it from here, of course, because it says wine nor strong drink. It looks as though there's two drinks being addressed. But when you look at the way that it's written, and we're going to use scriptures for all to review these. Okay, hold on. I want you to see this verse. There we are. So when you look at the scripture, let's read through it. Wine and intoxicant. This word "and" here is used as with. It's wine with an intoxicant. Must not be, you are drinking. Do not drink wine, not nor wine nor strong drink, wine with intoxicants. Thou nor thy sons with thee, when you go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest you die. He shall separate himself from what? Okay, this is it. Hold on. Am I looking at the right? Yeah, okay. He shall separate himself from wine and strong drink. He shall drink no vinegar of wine, or vinegar of strong drink, neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes or dried. So let's look at the scripture and scriptures for all. He shall separate, let's read from here. He shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, from wine and intoxicant, with intoxicant. There's no nor. Well, hold on. He shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, from wine with intoxicants. It's not from wine and intoxicants. And from another drink. It's wine with intoxicants. He shall sequester himself from vinegar of wine. He shall drink no vinegar of wine, and strong drink of intoxicant. Here, I didn't even notice it before, but and vinegar of intoxicant. He shall drink, neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes. Vinegar of wine and vinegar of intoxicant. No. Okay, I'm okay with that. And he shall drink not any of the liquid of grapes. This says drink any liquor of grapes. So it's saying that he can't even drink. You know what? This whole story is just made up anyway. I'll do another video about this. I don't know if it's made up. Actually, I haven't researched it. It just doesn't make any sense. This whole Nazirite. I'm going to tell you why it doesn't make any sense. And then I'll do a video later after I've had a chance to research it. But I'm telling you, it's illogical. There is a verse in the New Testament somewhere that says, "What good thing can come out of Nazareth?" So we are supposed to believe, we are supposed to be taught that there is a whole section of the people of God, which he has set aside for himself for no reason whatsoever. And he tells them not to drink grape juice or wine for whatever reason. I mean, they can't drink grape juice or cut their hair or do all these things with no explanation, by the way. So he has separated a specific group of people. He's in essence formed a clique for himself amongst his people. All right. He sets them aside, and then by the time Jesus comes, they've made it to the promised land. They've named an entire town after themselves, and that town has become so corrupt that people are saying no good thing can come out of Nazareth. Highly doubtful. Highly doubtful. And a clique within the people of God, which is endorsed by God, is the unnatural part. That's the stretch for me. That God established a clique within his people, or a section, a division of his people, that he assigned a division, other than the priests, other than the priesthood. But anyway, this is wine with intoxicants. And I noticed that there were a lot of lies that were associated with this wine and liquor. By the way, that's not the first, and it's not going to be the last. This is another one here. And the drink offering thereof shall be a fourth part of a hin for the one lamb. In the holy place shalt thou cause the strong wine to be poured unto the Lord for a drink offering. Poured where? Because you couldn't pour it on the altar. What, are you going to just pour one out for the homies? Just pour his drink offering on the ground in the dirt. Why don't you? Just pour it out in the dirt. Because you couldn't put it on the altar, because you couldn't put leaven on the altar. Sin was not allowed to be put on that altar. And leaven is a symbolic image of sin. Could not be fermented. That's why Jesus would not drink it. He didn't drink it because it would have dulled his senses, not because it was. Not because it had leaven in it. But and the drink offering thereof shall be the fourth part of a hin for the one lamb in the holy place. And thou okay, I want you to tell me here as we read through this part, because I'm reading through the wrong part. Where does it say to pour this out? And the libation of him, the fourth of the hin for the lamb, the one in the sanctuary, libate you, libation of intoxicant to Yahweh. It says drink the alcohol. After the Lord specifically said, do not drink alcohol before you come into the sanctuary. Here it says drink it. Drink it for the Lord. Drink an intoxicated beverage for the Lord. It doesn't say anything about pouring it out. It's not real. there's a lot of false doctrines associated with this alcohol. I had told you guys there was not a drink offering. No, that's not correct. There was a drink offering. It is the oil. The oil was considered the drink offering, not wine. I thought that the wine was the drink offering, as I had been taught. And I was like, no, there is no drink offering. There is a drink offering. The wine, if you look at the Bible, and I don't have the scriptures, I just noticed it as I was studying, the oil is considered a drink offering. And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink, or for whatsoever thy soul desireth. And thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy God, and thou shalt rejoice, thou and thine household. This is another lie. This didn't happen. This is not true. We'll study this at one time. This is about the tithe. And it's just not real. I mean, the tithe is real. You're supposed to tithe, but you don't. Let me give you a general rule for the tithe. Okay? Maybe we won't. Maybe I can bypass the study if I give you the general rule and you understand it. The general rule for the tithe is this. Okay, I'm gonna just give you a little bit of detail, because there's a lot of false doctrines that are going on out there. And the wicked will try to tell you, oh, all the pastors are cheats and they all want money. And see, because money is their God. So anybody asks them for their money for free, it becomes offensive to them. We are not of that group. Okay? We love to give our money to God, to the people that work for him, to the people that give us the word. We want you to have it because we love the Lord and we love what you're doing. Their opinion is going to be opposed to that. They don't want you to give money to those people. So of course they're going to put a stigmatism on that. Ignore all of that. If you had 1,000 mountains with 1,000 things of cattle on it, the Lord would not ask you to feed him. Everything belongs to God. Period. Everything that you've seen, everything that you haven't seen, everything that will come in the future, it's all God's. He don't need your money. He doesn't need your money. Period. He just doesn't need it. The Lord has given to you. He has made you the steward over his stuff. Now, if I had $100 and I gave that $100 to someone and I said, look, take this $100, invest it for me. And I want you to invest it in all of the profits. If you make some money off of that $100, you keep 50% of the profits and you give me the other 50%. And let's say you made $100. That person made $100 worth of profits. And he came to me and he said, here is your $40 worth of profits. That's the money I made. That's your share. Has he given me my 50%? No. He has shorted me $10. He has shorted me $10 because it was all my money and it was all my profits. It was all supposed to be mine. I made him a ward of it and I rewarded him as such. What you give to the Lord, you give back. And what you give back is supposed to be 10%. You can see the 10% in Melchizedek's story. You can see the 10% in Jacob when he made a promise to God. Paul talks about an ox is worthy of his, I can't remember all the scriptures, I'm so sorry. Paul talks about it in the New Testament when he said that the ox is supposed to eat, don't muzzle the ox while he's feeding or something like that. And then he also said, I think Jesus said that when he sent the disciples out, that a person is worthy of their something like that. But Paul talks about it as well. Paul's is more clear, but I can't exactly remember the scripture. Even though I am becoming more and more familiar with the New Testament, by the way, doing all of this studying on the Passover in there. But he speaks of it, and I'll just post the scripture down at the bottom. Give me a day or two to find it, and then I'll post it down at the bottom. But anyway, so the general rule is going to be 10% of everything that you have goes back to God. It doesn't go to God. It goes back to him because everything you have is his. Okay? Let the wicked talk their wicked stuff because they worship money. That's not the way we feel. We want to give to those people that are teaching us about God, and we love to do so. It should not be hard for you to give. If it's hard for you to give, count it a blessing. It's teaching you how to be more loving, and it's teaching you how to be closer to God instead of worshiping money. Where your money is, that's where your heart is. So anyway, the general rule is, if it's 10% of your time, if it says give 10%, that's fine. If I read through this and I find out that it's 10% of anything other than your profits or anything like that, then it's a go. But this, when I did a brief read through of it, it seems to be a second 10%. That's why I'm saying it's false. So I don't know for sure 100%, but if I read through it and if anything outside of that 10% that you're supposed to give your tithe, that you're supposed to give to your tithe, it's a lie. There's nothing in the Bible that it's supposed to teach anyway that honestly teaches that you give anything outside of 10%. That is the rule. That is the rule. 10% of your time, 10% of your money. If you can think of 10% of something else, then go with it. Don't take from the Lord, because you're only giving back to him, and then he will bless you. You follow that rule, you'll be safe. Anything outside of that is a deception. And this to me looks like a deception. So that's what I believe it is until proven otherwise. I don't have time to study everything. Some things we just have to take for face value until we have time to get to it. And the tithe, it just can't be a priority for me right now. That's why I'm telling you, follow that rule and you'll be fine. You should be able to protect yourself from swindlers, from lies in the Bible, and from so forth and so on. But let's look at this. And you give the silver and anything which she is yearning, soul of you, in the herd and in the flock and in the wine and in the intoxicant and in anything which she is asking you. So let's look at the way this is written. It's written, and thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink. And I'm emphasizing this or, because or in Hebrew means the same as it does in English. And in Hebrew means the same as it does in English. Or for whatsoever thy soul desireth, and thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy God. Is this saying or? No, it says in the herd and in the flock and in the wine and in the intoxicant, as though it's an order. It is not or. This is false. This whole section is false because it's teaching a false doctrine. But this is all messed up because they didn't even use the right word. They used and, which means also. You are supposed to buy of the herd and of the flock and of the wine and of the intoxicant and in anything. It's just all messed up. It's just wrong. Or is a different word. You can look that up on your own because that's not what our topic is about. I just want to show you this is wrong. It's just wrong. So let's move on. Ye have not eaten bread, neither have you drunk wine or strong drink, that ye might know that I am the Lord your God. I don't even know why I left this in here. This is such a big topic. We'll have to come back to this and speak on it more at a later time. But I will tell you. Okay, I'm going to try and keep this brief. Do not deceive yourself. Do not harden your heart. This was certainly made up. This was certainly changed. It was changed from meat. We have a support scripture in Daniel in the Revelation. Hold on. We have a support scripture in Daniel about meat and strong drink. Okay? This was meat. They changed it. Now, you see that they changed the meal offering from bread or meal to meat. And they've changed this bread here, this, which is the exact same word that's used for manna, by the way. They changed it from meat to bread. I'm not going to get into the details of why. I just want you to know that they did have bread while they were out there 40 years in the wilderness. They did. What they did not have was alcohol. They didn't have alcohol. They had bread because manna was considered bread from heaven. It's the exact same word. If I were to pull it up, you would see it in Deuteronomy 16, probably in, I can't remember if they spoke about it in Deuteronomy. I'm sorry, Exodus 16. I can't remember if they spoke about it in Exodus 12. But this is what they called manna. Of course they ate bread for 40 years. They didn't want it to be meat. That's what it was. You have not eaten meat. Neither. Okay, and hold on. Let me just say this real quick. I guess I'm going to have to say a few words to you. Okay. And I thought about this. They were asking for meat shortly after they left. After they left Egypt. Meat was one of the first things that was given to them, and it was a curse. They were not carrying around flocks of sheep. It would have been inconvenient. If they had, they would have eaten them. They would have eaten them, and I have not. They were not doing that. They would have had to figure out how to feed them. They would have had to figure out how to water them. They were carrying around the bare minimum. The bare minimum was the animals that they needed in order to carry their goods with them. And their goods would have dwindled off to a basic level of survival because they had to move them all of the time. Their clothes did not wear out on them. Their needs were met. They were able to live a life, but they did not have meat. And they did not have alcoholic beverages. This is what's being said here, okay? And they did not have flocks of sheep. Our offering system consists of one sheep, which was done. There were no sin offerings. Absolutely not. One sheep, which was done per year. And I have to do some more studying to even figure out if they did that while they were in the wilderness. While they were walking around in the wilderness, or if no, I'm thinking of the daily. One sheep which would have been sacrificed each day. I don't think they did that for the 40 years in the wilderness. But I have to do a little bit more research on it. But then our second offering is a grain offering. The only one that really required any kind of meat would have been the peace offering, which the examples in the Bible do show that is a fatted calf. So I haven't worked it all out yet, whether or not they actually made offerings in those 40 years, but they didn't eat meat. If they did make an offering, the lamb, of course, was burnt up. They would eat that. The bread offering was a meal offering. And then, like I said, I have to work out the fatted calf. I haven't worked that out yet. But let's continue on. Let's take a look at this in Scriptures for All. Ye have not eaten bread, neither have ye drunk wine or strong drink, that ye might know that I am the Lord your God. You did not eat meat, nor alcohol, that ye might know, because it brought them closer to God. That's what it's saying. But don't harden your heart toward it. If you don't want to do it, just don't do it. It's better to not deny the truth. And just don't do it. And then you can pray for God to help you to get to that point. We know that the 144,000 are going to be there because Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are examples for the 144,000, and none of them would touch meat or alcohol. So just don't harden your heart, okay? Just accept it, and better to just not do it. Say you're not strong enough, you're not ready. One day, even if circumstances pushes you to that point, one day, okay? Bread not you ate, and wine with intoxicants. Wine and intoxicant. You have not eaten bread, not you ate. There's no neither here. You have not eaten bread not you ate, and wine with intoxicant. 1. Oh, here's a not here. Not you drink. Okay, that's okay. So that ye shall know that I, Yahweh, is the Elohim of you. Okay, so that's fine. It's just combined. It's one word. No wine or strong drink. It's and intoxicant, with intoxicant. And we're going to try and hurry up. How many more verses? Oh, we got a couple. Okay, maybe we should just stop. I was not intending to talk so much through this. Let's just go ahead and start, and then we'll do a part 2. Because I don't really want to redo this and put it in one video, so it'll have to be 2. We'll stop here, and I will talk with you. We'll finish up in the next video.